thinking about all the times that life hits us really, really hard, and how honestly these are opportunities for the absolute most growth that, for this period of time that we have. And I realized that it seems like, at least for me, and I feel like for everybody, because I feel like if you were to take everybody's downfalls, everybody's bad days, everybody's worst moments, and you threw them all in a pile, I bet you almost everybody would run and pick up their own item out of that pile. Whereas a lot of times you think like, oh yeah, this person has it better, this person has this person has that, but it's just like we don't necessarily know what goes on behind the scenes. And a lot of times it's like we can't handle the things that some other people are going through. And it's not that we can't handle it, but it's just like we can't even fathom what it's like going through some of these things, because some of them be hitting hard. Like some people be going through some crazy stuff where it's just like I couldn't survive a day in their shoes. And that's, like I said, on the background, whereas in the forefront, on the highlight reel, how they portray to be, people do want to switch places with them. Like, I'm not that type of person. Like, I honestly, I'm very grateful for the life that I get to have, the good days, the bad days, the contrast, all the things. But I feel like when it comes to our growth opportunities, which typically come in times of pain, times of discomfort, and things like that, like I feel like all of my special concoction of issues, I feel like they're like handpicked, because God won't put you through anything that you can't handle. That's first things first. But if you really look back and think about it, you've handled everything that you faced thus far. Every day that you have breath is a testament to that. And so I just found it very interesting that my bucket of problems are literally specific to me, just like the next person's, their bucket of problems is specific to them. And I don't want their bucket and they don't want my bucket. But nevertheless, no one gets through this thing called life unscathed. Even someone who has the absolute best credentials, the best highlight reel, the best of the best of the best in all the ways that you can possibly think of, even they have bad days. Even they have moments that hurt. Even they got their heart broken. Even they dealt with loss. Like, there's so many, all of us are human, and regardless of our status, we can't unhuman ourselves. That experience is ours to carry, and there's nothing we can do but carry it. Now, some people get themselves in a position where, they're definitely outliers, but they're still not outliers to the human experience. They're outliers as far as like maybe they're so far from your realm that you couldn't necessarily fathom it, but they still deal with human things day to day. Hurts, pains, confusion, loss, all the things. But it's not always about what you go through. It's how you handle it. And so, as I always mention, life is just experiences happening around you. They're not good, they're not bad, they're just things that are happening. And if you so choose to assign a label on it, that's on you. It's not doing yourself much good, not unless you're choosing for everything to feel good. So if you can do that, have at it. But otherwise, it's just kind of like, just be real indifferent towards everything, because our experiences shape us. Our experiences, they're a part of that ping pong table that I talk about, where it's like, not even table, I'm thinking of a pinball machine, I think they're called. They don't even got them things these days, I don't think, but you pull a little thing and the marble goes rolling through and bing, 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 all through the thing. So I feel like that's how life does, and it just kind of shoots us all over the place, and we're hitting these lessons and navigating life and finding our way through the best that we can. All of us are, even if it doesn't necessarily look a certain, like it might not look a certain way, or it could look a very specific way. It depends on how you want to rock it. But nevertheless, we gain like XP points, and it's like fighting the big guy at the end of the game and leveling up to the next level. So it's like, no matter what, life, there is never going to be a point where life doesn't happen around you, not unless life ceases. So there's that. But as life happens around you, you keep upgrading if you let yourself. And that's the beauty in these experiences that we have. They're all moments that lead to upgrades if you learn that lesson. Because the thing is that when you don't learn the lesson, things are just going to keep repeating themselves over and over and over. You'll get the same guy in a different flesh suit, and you will go through the same things. You'll still have that all men are trash, or all women suck, or all women are gold diggers, and all of this is this, and all of them are that. And it's just like, all of nothing exists nowhere. It literally exists nowhere. So it's like, maybe it's just you being the common denominator. Think about it. Yeah, when you're the common denominator, you can start to see, okay, well, how come all these experiences are the same? The only thing that's the same in all of these different experiences is me. Now, how can I be different so that these experiences become different? Because we are a mirror, and a lot of times we don't necessarily realize it, or even want to realize it, especially when we feel like we may not have been dealt the best hand. But we're a mirror of a collective experience that we've been basically collecting data since birth, since the womb. And so a lot of things are passed down to us. A lot of things were just kind of put in our psyche as we've aged. And then some things, because of the things that were, placed upon us, we accept it as the truth. Or it could just be all that we've seen based off of how we were raised, where we was raised, all that good stuff. My hair is turning into an afro. It's turning. But yeah, so I just think that it's in our best interest to start recognizing the patterns that we are experiencing, and then removing ourselves from the pattern, not necessarily in reality, but just mentally remove yourself and just kind of look at it from a bird's eye view. And it's like, okay, well, this is how I am, and this is what I'm getting. So even and sometimes you don't even realize that you're the common denominator, because you feel like you're the victim. But if you take the time away from feeling like the victim and just seeing your experiences for what they are, you have that opportunity to change. Because when you're a victim, you're kind of just stuck in, woe is me, why does this happen to me? And you've pretty much given away your power. Whereas when you're not the victim, the power's in your hands, and it's just like, okay, well, I don't like that, this person always feels like they can ask me for money. I don't like that, this person feels like they can talk to me crazy. Like, I don't like that at work they're leaving all this extra work for me to do. And so it comes to a point where it's just like, okay, no, the power's in my hands. So what am I going to do to change what's happening? Sometimes it's as simple as a conversation. Other times it is, it's completely removing yourself. Sometimes you got to leave people right where they at, right where they had you messed up at. You can leave them right there. We don't got the time for that. I just think that life is wonderfully long, but it's too short to just be dealing with foolery. Like, for once, I just don't have the time. I don't have the time nor the patience. I'm getting on the highway, and traffic is trafficking. So that just goes back to say that I feel like all of our experiences are handcrafted for us specifically as individuals, and we're given these experiences because we can handle these experiences, not just like literally barely making it by, but we can handle these experiences and come out stronger on the other side, come out different people on the other side. I can promise you, all the times that I have hit rock bottom, it has literally, I was like on a diving board. What are those called? Springboards? I was like on some sort of springboard where it's just like, once I hit the ground, it's like I just flew off, like truly just flew off. And it's like you really can't make it up, because it's like life can be so low that you don't even realize how hard you fight for your life sometimes. Like, you really don't. And then it's just like things start to change, things start to turn around, and they don't seem so challenging anymore. And that's something that I'm personally grateful for, because I had a rough last, how many months? August, September, October, November, December. It's now January. So the last 6 months have been quite a doozy for me. Like quite the doozy. And yeah, it was just like life was just kept hitting me back to back to back. All things that it's just like I felt like I was drowning. Like I felt like I was in quicksand and just not, yeah, like it just terrible. But looking back at it, yes, I was going through a really rough time in all the areas of life. I was going through a really rough time, but all of those things have turned around so drastically, because I am an advocate for healing and growth and not staying stuck in a place that doesn't feel good. Because the thing is, a lot of us decide to pull out a sleeping bag and camp out where in some of our lowest moments, whereas the point of that wasn't to just lay down and take it. Now granted, you can, but all that's time that you're just not getting back. We don't get time back. Every moment that you take with your head in the sand is opportune times where you could have just been doing the inner work. Because the thing is sometimes we just have to choose our hard. Both of these are hard. Healing isn't easy. It's not easy, but neither is being miserable. So which hard would you rather choose? Because to me, I'm going to choose the hard that's going to get me into a different situation. I'm going to choose the hard that's going to change the outlook of what's happening. I'm going to choose the hard that honestly is temporary. It's more temporary than the latter. I mean, it condenses that time where it's like, okay, how about I decide to just wallow for the next 6 months, and now I still have to heal. It's not like you're doing yourself a favor by just, being in that depressed state or being in such a low state, because life is still going to happen, and you sweeping it under the rug does not make it go away. It doesn't. Now, I'll say this about healing as well, though, because healing doesn't make the problem go away either, but it helps you live past it. Because the thing is, with all the things that happen to us, there's nothing we can do about it. Everything happens and the moment's gone. We can't take it back. Some of the worst things can happen to us, and we cannot take those moments back. It just is what it is. We've been dealt our cards. This is the reality of it. Pick up your bags and keep moving. That's all you can do. But before healing, a lot of people don't give themselves the credit. A lot of people don't give themselves the credit that they have more power in their hands than they give themselves credit for. And they just think that, oh, well, this is what happened, so I'm just unlucky, or I'm unloved, or all these different things that in actuality it's just like, okay, well, you just need to self-reflect. And I'm not saying things are your fault, but I feel like things are predetermined in our life. I'm not saying it's necessarily destiny, but there are different points in our lives that happen because they had to happen. These things happen so that they can point you into the right direction of your birthright. And that's where all the abundance is. That's where all the money is. That's where that amazing relationship is. That's where your best body is. That's where all the fun and all of these things are in your highest purpose, self reality. I said that real weird but you get what I'm saying. And so when we allow life to just kind of navigate us, so we just go with it instead of being resistant. When we're resistant, that's when it's like you just kicking and screaming, and it's like life is still gonna happen. Nothing's gonna change that. So how about we focus on making it work for us rather than against us? Because the power's in our hands. We can't help what happens to us, but what happens after that is up to us. You can't stop that thought from popping in your head, but you have control over every thought after that. these choices, these are all choices, and they are all ours. So our experiences that come through and challenge us as far as, you know, our comfort, who we are, all these different things, like the ways that they kind of lay on our lives, we have, this is like God showing us, saying, okay, here's a fork in the road, pick this or pick this. And then we pick our line, and then we come to another fork in the road, pick this or pick this. And it's just like, it turns into this wonderful web of experiences. And after a while, once you kind of remove yourself from the good and the bad of things, you'll see that life's just happening around you, and you're just making the best out of it, because that's all you can do. That's all you can do. That's literally all you can do. You just make the best out of everything, because everything has a bright side. Everything, like, no matter how bad a situation is, it could always be worse. So if you work on focusing on the bright side of things, that's choosing gratitude, essentially. Yeah, there's a bright side for everything. You just have to find it. Now, some people, that's easier said than done, but it's possible. And then honestly, once you start rewiring your mind to do that, it happens automatically. Like, I've got to the point where I've been on autopilot for finding the bright side of things, but I'm definitely new to nervous system re-regulating and changing the belief systems from the core. So healing is like an onion. There are so many layers to evolving as a person, as a spiritual being, as a human in your flesh body. There's so many layers to it, and I'm so glad that I've gotten to the point where I am now, because when I did my first big healing, my big healing journey, I thought I couldn't have kids. And I didn't do the healing journey because I thought I couldn't have kids. I did the healing journey because life was kicking my behind, and it was crazy, the things that was going on, and it kind of forced me into healing. And so within that, I ended up opening my womb, and all of this thing, like, it was just like, God was like, okay, you're now ready. Like, all them years I thought I couldn't have a kid, and it was really just an energetic block because of the situation that I was in. So thank God for blocking what I thought was a blessing, because that would have been a terrible, terrible, terrible situation. So there's that. But yeah, so this healing journey this time around, it also was that life was, it hit me real hard. Like, I lost my job, and then all the dominoes fell from there. And again, like, I was kind of forced into healing, and I'm grateful for it, because those rough months, these last few months, they were really, really rough. But honestly, this time I've had the biggest changes that I've had in my entire life, and I've been doing inner work since when my dad passed in 2013. I've been doing inner work since about then, and so this is what, 11-ish years or so that I'm into this, like, inner work game, spiritual game, whatever you want to call it. And these last 6 months have been the most deepest transformation that I have experienced. And from that, many beautiful things have blossomed, to be honest. I've been getting over my fear of being seen, so go back and check out my other videos. My marriage has evolved into something even more robust and beautiful. Intimacy's on 10. I ain't even gonna say much about that, but just, yeah. I find pleasure everywhere. I have a new job. I have there's so many things to be grateful for. I could really just continue to list things. It's like I finally found my tribe, and I'm the type that I don't even really have friends for. I have like less than a handful of friends. And and so it's just like, I have my bestest, and I have my husband, and I guess a few associates here and there if I'm being generous. But it's like, I found my tribe. I found a safe space. I found peace. I found God. Honestly, that's the biggest one. I literally found God in my lowest points. Like, who knew? Like, you don't know the amount of, and I'm already a crier, but you don't know how much I have cried in these last few months, just out of pure joy. Like, at first they weren't tears of joy. They weren't tears of joy at all, but they ended up being tears of joy. Like, at first it was like, you know, just going through the pains of lifing at the time, the way that it was, that is. But then it's like, I found God, and it's just like I've never felt so seen, so supported, so loved. And it was like, God was like, I've been here all along. And I don't know if you guys would know what I'm talking about, but there was a picture in my house when I was little, and it was a picture of like feet prints in the sand, and it was like this little, you know, excerpt, and it said something along the lines of, and I'm just paraphrasing because I ain't about to butcher this, but somebody was basically asking, like, God, I done went through this, and this, and, you know, you said you was gonna be here, but you left me hanging, you know, God, what is it? Like, what's up with that? And the quote basically was saying, like, baby, that was me. Them footprints you see right there, they're mine. Those are my footprints. Meanwhile, you thinking that you walking by yourself, but you get to piggyback ride through the desert. Long story short, you know, and it's just like, wow, like that's what clicked to me, like, in the midst of all of these experiences, because it's like, God was carrying me even when I didn't know that God existed in my experience the way that he does. Like, I had the head knowledge of God, but not the embodiment of it. And I feel like I've talked about that before. Go check out some other videos, you'll see it. But yeah, it was just like, that is the biggest thing of all, because I feel like with God, everything else evolved too. Everything. And it's like my new outlook on life, on just my experience here is, I mean, I really can't, there's nothing to complain about. There's nothing but gratitude in my sight, because even when things aren't the best, the fact that I have life to experience it, I'm grateful. You know, sometimes you need contrast to be more appreciative of the good times. Something that I used to never realize, and I took for so much granted, is breathing. I'm an asthmatic, and it's like, you never think about how important breathing is until you can't. And so it's like, just taking these little things, these things for granted that work on autopilot for us. And meanwhile, it's just like, when you don't have it, it's just like, you don't realize how good it was. you don't realize how good. Even now, something as simple as a stuffed nose. I hate when my nose is stuffy, but the blessing of just being able to breathe clearly through my nose is amazing. Like, it's something so wonderful that God has given us that we don't even have to think about. And even the fact that it stopped itself up, my body's fighting off some sort of infection. So it's just like, I need to be grateful for that as well, because it's just like, it's a reason that my nose is stuffed up. It might not be the most comfortable, but it's here to save me in some form or fashion. I ain't gonna ask too many questions, because I'm just let it do its thing. But yeah, so I just think that that's something we all should start focusing on, and pay attention to the things that are happening around us, and seeing what ways that we can be springboarded into our next experience in life. If you've been in your own healing journey, let me know what ways that your life has been propelled forward after one of your low moments. You don't even have to share what the low moment was unless you want to. But yeah, like, I just feel like it's crazy that so many things came from mine. Like I said, having babies, I have this all, like, to me that was something so big. Like, that's massive to me. And yeah, I definitely want to know what ways that things looked up for you after some of your worst moments. And then if you can't even think of any, I want you to use this as an opportunity to find your way out of your worst moment. Say you're in that now. I want you to look for ways of gratitude, things that you can appreciate, the fact that you're here, The fact that you're walking, talking, breathing, and even if you're lacking on any of that, there's something else to be grateful for. There's always something to be grateful for. Always. Always. It could be the chair you're sitting on. It could be the roof over your head, even if that roof's a car right now. It could be for the trees outside. It could be for the air. It could be for water. It could literally be for anything. So I want you to focus on finding something grateful. And let me know what you're grateful for down below. Let me know how God be showing up and showing out in your life. Please and thank you. Yes, I want all the tea. I want all the tea. I want all the tea. I want it all. I want it all. That's so funny. Yeah, no, really though. I want it all. So let's talk about it in the comments. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Leave me a balloon.